Hey guys, this is Alan Moore, Certified Financial Planner and founder of Serenity Financial Consulting. Thanks for joining me. Bloomberg recently released a report that college tuition has risen 1,120% since 1978. That's about 4 times the inflation rate. So college costs are soaring and families are wondering, is getting a college education still worth it? In fact, billionaire Peter Thiel, I think that's how you say his last name, who actually founded PayPal, is paying bright students to not go to college and instead start a business. I mean, he's giving them grants to do that. So people are constantly asking me, is college still worth it? Is it still a valuable investment? Because that's what college is. It's an investment in future career earnings for a student. Recent research shows that it is still worth it. College graduates have lower unemployment rates, higher lifetime earnings, but there are still a few things that you can do to be sure that you, if you're going to school, or your kid, if you're helping pay for them or a grandchild to go to school, gets a very significant value out of going to school. The first thing you can do is have them work with a career coach. Now, I'm not talking about some assessment that says, yes, I like animals, so therefore you should be a veterinarian. I'm talking about working extensively with a career coach that'll value likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, all these areas that matter when it comes to helping determine what that child wants to do with their career. What this allows the student to do is to be on the right path from day one. And that really kind of flows into the second point of don't go to college undecided. So undecided was the #1 degree selection for students coming into the University of Georgia while I was there. I know the argument that college is a time to find yourself and you spend 1 or 2 years learning and growing. And although that is true, it is a very costly time. So if you just take classes for 1 to 2 years before you finally select your major, it may take you 5 or even 6 years to get through a 4-year degree program. Not only is that 1 to 2 years of additional tuition, room and board and all that, it's 1 to 2 years of lost wages. So if you don't start working until you're 24, you're going to be really behind. And so if you can avoid that, that would be obviously the preference. So try to go, after working with a career coach, maybe you can go to college with a degree in mind. The third step is to know your career and financial prospects. So I once worked with a young lady who had just graduated from college. She had $120,000 in student loan debt. Now that's fine if you got a degree in medicine, but she got a 4-year degree in social work. She was never going to be able to pay off these student loans. Fortunately, there's some government programs that were able to assist her, but she was going to be making $30,000 a year, for the foreseeable future. She was never going to be able to afford the student loan payments. I knew a lot of students that got 4-year degrees in English and psychology, and there's nothing wrong with these degrees, but what is it going to lead to? You have to know what are the career prospects with the degree that you're getting. A lot of degrees like psychology, English, social work are merely feeders into master's programs. So if you're not going to get a master's degree, your career prospects may be very limited. I am never going to recommend to a student that they not do a career that they love. Just because, teachers get a lower wage than engineers doesn't mean you have to be an engineer. But it does mean that we have to accept the fact that it is more expensive. And maybe we consider alternatives like community colleges or public universities instead of private universities. The next step is being sure you're going for the education and not for football. And this actually comes from a personal experience when, I grew up in Alabama. All of my family went to the Auburn University, and I knew I was going to be an Auburn Tiger one day. The thing was, we moved to Georgia when I was 12, and Georgia had this really nice program where it actually paid for all of your college tuition at a public Georgia college as long as you maintained a 3.0 grade point average in high school and college. So I had that 3.0. And when I was getting ready to apply to college, my dad sat me down and he said, Alan, I know you want to go to Auburn, but it's $16,000 a year and University of Georgia is free. Can you give me $16,000 of reasons that you need to go to Auburn? He said, if you give me that, I'll pay for it, but I need to know that you're going to get value. Well, the truth was I couldn't. Georgia actually had stronger academics in the programs that I was interested in. I ended up kind of bouncing around majors a little bit, but when I found financial planning, Auburn didn't even have that degree program. So it was a great decision career-wise, and it saved my parents a ton of money. The last thing is to set financial limits. I love when parents set some type of standard for their kids' college education. Maybe that's, we'll pay $10,000 a year and you figure it out. If it's $5,000 a year for you to go to college, great, you'll have some extra money. If it's $20,000, you've got to make up the gap. Another option is to say, we're going to pay 50% of tuition no matter where you go, and we'll pay all your room and board. Whatever it is, you have to set limits based on your ability to pay for their college education. You have to look at your own personal finances to see where you're at for that, and then stick to it. I think it helps students value their education more. It certainly makes them think through the options. I knew that if I lost Hope Scholarship, my parents were not going to pay for my college tuition. And you better believe I was never going to lose Hope Scholarship because of that, because I didn't want to have to foot the bill for those expenses. So college education, in my opinion, is still worth it. But you need to take a few steps to ensure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. Now, and if you're paying for someone else to go to college, it's okay to be involved. I do not advocate, you picking your kid's schedule in college. They need to, in my opinion, they need to be allowed to be adults. But you can put a little pressure on them to know, what is the career that you're getting at the end of this? What is this investment going to do for you in the long run? So what do you think? Do you agree with my points? Any disagreements? I'd love to hear your comments. But that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me.